Are you enjoying the true worship of the living God? I trust that you are. As Paul speaks on this theme in Philippians 3, right in the middle of telling us to rejoice in the Lord and beginning to describe for us what true worshipers look like, he inserts a warning, and he does this so often in his writings, and all of a sudden he says, watch out for those dogs, those evildoers, those mutilators of the flesh. And what is he talking about? Dogs. That was the term the Jews used to describe Gentiles. And in eastern cities in Palestine, dogs would roam the city. Nobody claimed to own them. They were scavengers. They were dirty. They were a nuisance. It was a terribly gross, derogatory term. And here, Paul says, the false teachers that are dogging my steps and corrupting the churches that I've planted, they're like vicious dogs. They're feeding on these newborn believers because, believe me, predators love fresh-born animals. That child animal, as it were, that newborn lamb, they're an easy dinner for a wolf or a predator or a wild dog. So he says, beware of those who want to destroy your feast in Christ and your joy in Christ and pick on you when you're vulnerable, maybe a new believer, maybe in a time you might be in between churches. You may have gotten hurt over some kind of issue, big or little, but in that vulnerability, you might be susceptible to other voices that might be false. And so he says, these people are evildoers and they're mutilators of the flesh, which is interesting. The Jews were always saying you had to be circumcised. But circumcision came from a word that meant to cut around. This word meant to cut down. These people are mutilating the body like the prophets of Baal that cut themselves and fell upon the altar. The same term used of pagan idol worship, cut the body, shred it. And he's saying, no. They're pushing circumcision, but they're really mutilators. They're cutting the flesh. It's worthless what they're doing. Has no religious significance. It has not touched their heart. So he said, don't be turned aside. And in our day, there's many that want to corrupt your faith and corrupt you from joy in Christ, joy in the Lord. I love what Peter said. He said, this is joy unexpressible, this knowing Christ. When false teaching comes, your joy will go and confusion will come and your religion will be turned into externals without anything that moves your heart. Don't be deceived. Watch out for the dogs. Watch out for those that would mutilate your faith and your life. Be careful. Rejoice in the Lord.